North Carolina Highway 210, and they have questionable towns. If I ever do a North Carolina 210 video, I'll probably have to see if these towns are okay or not for this highway. Welcome to the Locals Guide. Today's Locals Guide episode is all about North Carolina Highway 210. North Carolina 210 is kind of a C-shaped highway, and it doesn't really go through anything major except for like Fayetteville, Lillington, Angier, and Smithfield. Like the southern half of the route's like really desolate. But boy, we do meet a lot of unincorporated communities, and I can't wait to rage about those, so let's get started with this video. But first, you're watching TheDerpHog, where I make highways content on all sorts of different topics. If you've been enjoying it, be sure to hit that like button, and if you've been really enjoying it, be sure to smash that subscribe button so you're notified on all future videos. And if you really want to help out the channel, become a member today, where you get custom cool emojis, early access to future videos, along with one free extra request per month. And if you don't want to become a member, you can always just pay $3 for a intersection request in future videos. Those highways will be listed down in the description below, and I'll make sure to shout you out when that video releases. So let's get on with the highway. As you can see here, this is the map of North Carolina Highway 210, as it kind of makes a weird looking C shape, as it starts all the way out here at a junction with US 17 and ends all the way up here in Smithfield at a junction with US 70 Business. And the blue part is part of the route I've been on. So with that, we're going to be talking about northwest bound North Carolina Highway 210. So we begin here on US Highway 17, where we have a directional sign for North Carolina Highway 210, as it gets signed for Topsail Island and Sneads Ferry, which I think are good choices. Here we meet North Carolina Highway 172 here in Sneads Ferry, and let us see what we're signed for up ahead. Oh, we just get a one-liner for North Topsail Beach. I do not like that. North Topsail Beach is ridiculously small. It only has 1,000 people. Plus, it's just a beach town. I'd like to see Surf City here too, even though it's slightly larger, but we do meet North Carolina 50 there to head back onto mainland North Carolina. So why is it not on here with North Topsail Beach? Look. Anyways, here's the causeway that North Carolina 210 travels on to head over to Topsail Island here in the distance. And once on the island, we get a very faded Welcome to Topsail Island sign, along with Home of Miss North Carolina from 2000. NC Dot, you probably need to update the sign. One, it's pretty faded, and two, I'm pretty sure no one cares about the Miss North Carolina of 2000. 2000 was 24 years ago. Here in Surf City, we meet with North Carolina Highway 50, and we're going to be joining with it as we head back onto mainland North Carolina here. And once back on mainland, we split off from North Carolina Highway 50 and we get signed for Hampstead, which I think is a good choice. But our first mileage sign after splitting off from North Carolina 50, we get Wilmington on the bottom line at 20 miles away. Wow, NC Dot, this is a rare NC Dot W here, because Wilmington is not even on North Carolina 210, it's actually on US Highway 17. So this is a good instance of favoring a US highway or another route over one other. Here we meet with US Highway 17 for a second time, and we're actually meet concurrent with it as we head over towards Hampstead and Wilmington. But on US Highway 17, we get a 3-liner mileage sign with Hampstead on the top line, Wilmington as our secondary, and then Charlotte as our primary. No, Charlotte's a small town, and it's the last town here in North Carolina. That definitely should be Myrtle Beach. This is North Carolina being provincial. Oh boy, we split off from US Highway 17, and we're assigned west for Rocky Point. You know what Rocky Point is? It's an unincorporated community, so they're basically assigning an unincorporated community, all because we meet Interstate 40 there. No, we also meet US Highway 117 in Rocky Point, so how about signing an actual town off of US 117? This is totally ridiculous. We do not need Rocky Point here. Ugh. They take it a step further with Rocky Point on the top line and Curry on the bottom line at 26 miles away. This is probably the most ridiculously mileage sign that I ever seen here in North Carolina. They're signing 2 unincorporated communities. 2! Like I said, have just one, I don't know, Rocky Point and a town 117 here? Because US 117 goes to an actual town. I know North Carolina 210 doesn't, but US 117 does. Or I don't know, how about sign something on US 421? Not 2 unincorporated communities. Ugh, NC Dots. Further up the road, we meet Interstate 40 here at exit 408. And I'm glad there's no control cities here because we all know what 40 West would be signed for. And then a little ways up the road, we meet US Highway 117. And this is, I believe, what 210 should have been signed from the 17 split. It should have been signed for Bergeron, not Rocky Point. But after meeting US Highway 117, we get signed for Fayetteville? Wow, that is pretty far away from here. This is also a rare NC.W. And I kind of agree with this because there's really nothing out here between here and Fayetteville. But the ways up the road, we now get Curry from 9 miles away, and I'm confused. So, did we get further away from Fayetteville, or are we closer to it? Because that last mileage time we just saw had 86 miles away, and now we're 89 miles away. So, was that supposed to mean like 93 or something? I don't know. North Carolina and not being consistent. Here we meet US Highway 421, and we're just going to be continuing northwest of here towards Fayetteville. Here we meet North Carolina Highway 11 in the Curry-ish area, and we're now signed 210 for north, so that's pretty cool. And then our first mileage sign after meeting North Carolina 11, we get Fayetteville on the top line and Fort Liberty at the bottom line. Personally, I prefer to see, if you want to sign something beyond Fayetteville, I'd actually do Spring Lake because Spring Lake has like roughly 12,000 people. But you can also just do a one-liner with Fayetteville here because Fayetteville is a pretty big city in North Carolina. And it works fine as a one-liner from like 70 miles away. I don't know why they have Fort Liberty there. Here we meet North Carolina Highway 53 for the first time, and certainly not for the last, in Kelly, North Carolina. And we're now splitting off from it as North Carolina 210 is now heading north towards Fayetteville. In fact, when we split off from North Carolina 53, we get a one-liner with just Fayetteville. Now this is how you do a one-line mileage sign, NC Dot. Please spread the news to South Carolina and Tennessee and Georgia, please. Here we meet US Highway 701 in the middle of nowhere. Like I said, North Carolina 210 doesn't really go through any big places outside of Fayetteville and the towns north of it. Hey, look at that, we do meet North Carolina 53 once again, and we're going to be concurrent with it for the rest of its route. And after we join with North Carolina 53, we get Spring Lake on the bottom line at 20 miles away. That's what I like to see. I've got 3 words for this highway. Next, slide, please. I do not want to be looking at this horrible abomination. Anyways, we're now meeting with North Carolina Highway 24, and this is also the terminus of North Carolina Highway 53, but sadly NCDOT does not want to tell us that. So instead, I put up my own end North Carolina 53 sign. So yippee! And we're now meeting with US 301 in Business Interstate 95 here in the heart of Fayetteville. And I actually was recently on 301 in Business 95, but not on this section because this is actually a little bit north of where I got off onto North Carolina 87 from here. Now we meet US 401 Business here, and 401 Business is going to be hanging with us as we head towards downtown Fayetteville. And now we're meeting proper US Highway 401 here. And in the north side of Fayetteville, we meet with Interstate 295, and 295 gets signed north for nothing, while 295 south gets signed for Fort Liberty. Alright. Oh, and also if you want to check out a video on Interstate 295, the Xavier 456 made one recently. So check them out here in the top right corner. And after leaving Interstate 295, we get a reassurance shield for North Carolina 24 and 87. And for some odd reason, the North Carolina 210 one is huge compared to the other two. Here we split off from North Carolina 24 and 87 as they head west towards Sanford, while 210 is now heading north towards Wellington. And I prefer to see Anger or Smithfield here, because Anger is a bit bigger than Wellington, but Wellington's still alright. It's not ridiculously small. Plus we have a whole bunch of intersections there, so that's alright. Our next mile and chime we get both Wellington and Anger, so that's pretty cool. And we're now meeting with US Highway 401 once again, and we're now signed for Anger. Since we're concurrent with a US highway, how about sign something where US 401 goes instead of North Carolina Highway 210? I see that North Carolina is bringing the G-dot out of themselves to sign something, a state route over a US highway. That should not be Anger. That should be Fuquay or Raleigh, not Anger. The sign is making me angry. And here on US 401, we get the afterthought of Raleigh from 33 miles away. While Coates is also for North Carolina 27, we also join in Lillington. Here is US Highway 421 and 401, 421, 210, and 27. All are concurrent here in the city of Wellington. Here's a cool overview of the Cape Fear River all the way down there. And this picture and the last couple pictures were taken by me. And this is here at the not so little intersection. And the control cities are a little bit further back behind the sign, because they don't have any room here to fit on everything. And here's another one of my own pictures of a mileage sign for North Carolina Highway 210, as we're now signed for Smithfield, which is a great choice, because that's the northern terminus of 210. Here we meet North Carolina Highway 55 here in Anger, and it's signed for Fuquay, Varina, and Coates. No, I do not want to see that Coates there. That should be done. I'm going to take away NC Dot's Coates because they're signing Coates over done. Oh, and here in Anger, I actually got my own selfie with the North Carolina 210 shield. And we can also see it doubles as a one-liner with Smithfield from 24 miles away. This is on our way towards Smithfield, and we meet some random road here. And at this particular time of the day, I was on this random road, so I got a picture of the 210 junction. Here we meet North Carolina Highway 50 here in front of the sheets. And this is the road that should be signed for Benson, not Interstate 40. Oh, it is signed for Benson. Then carry on then. And after leaving North Carolina Highway 50, we did another mileage sign. We had Smithfield on the top line and Goldsboro on the bottom line. That's on US Highway 70 Business. So this is a pretty awesome mileage sign again here, NC Dot. Wow. And we're now meeting Interstate 40 here at exit 319, as we can see that 210 is getting signed for Smithfield and Anger, while 40 gets signed for Raleigh and Benson. No, we're only 9 miles north of the 95 and 40 junction. There should definitely be Wilmington here, not Benson. Like I said, North Carolina 50 is the only highway that should be signed for Benson, not 40. Ugh. And then here in Smithfield, we meet US 70 Business, and sadly this is the unceremonious end to North Carolina Highway 210. So with that, we're going to be turning around and doing southeastbound North Carolina Highway 210. So we begin here on US 70 Business, and we're now signed for Andrew, which is a good choice. In our first mileage time, we get Andrew on the top line and Wellington on the bottom line. Personally, I'd prefer to see just Andrew as a one-liner here because, like I said, Andrew is relatively bigger than Wellington, but then again, Wellington does have the not-so-little intersection along those junctions there. Here we meet Interstate 40 once again, and like I said last time, that Benson should not be there. Here we meet North Carolina Highway 50, and this is the road that should be signed for Benson. And a little ways up the road, we're now entering into the town of Andrew here. And I actually got a couple more pictures for southeastbound North Carolina Highway 210. But first, we're going to be passing by Ed's Family Restaurant, which is a restaurant that I recommend you trying if you ever come to Andrew. And then here's a couple of my own pictures of the Andrew town of crepe myrtles and a mural of the city of Andrew. I also got a picture of the North Carolina 55 junction and its control cities for Coates and Fuquay. And we can also see that we get a mileage sign here with Wellington on the top line and Fort Liberty on the bottom line. Why are you signing Fort Liberty? That definitely should be Fayetteville, not Fort Liberty. Here in Wellington, we're now at the not-so-little intersection, and this is also my own picture here, as we're going to be concurrent with 421, 401, and 27. Here's a Welcome to Wellington sign. And this is where US Highway 421 splits off from 401, 27, and 210. And this picture, again, was taken by me. And this is where North Carolina Highway 210 splits off from US Highway 401, as they technically both go towards Fayetteville, but 210 actually goes towards Spring Lake and Fort Liberty first, then going into Fayetteville. But if you want to go to Fayetteville directly, you're better off taking 401 here. So this is a good, properly signed junction. But our next mileage time, we get Spring Lake on the top line and Fort Liberty. No, how about just Fort Liberty and Fayetteville, or just Spring Lake and Fayetteville? These two places are literally 1 mile apart. Anyways, here in Spring Lake, we meet with North Carolina 24 and 87, as we're now signed for Fayetteville and to Interstate 295. And here's a couple of the exits here in Fort Liberty, as it'll take you onto the Army base here. And now we meet Interstate 295, which just gets the same control cities. I have no idea why NC DOT does not give 295 a northbound control city. How about something on US Highway 13 or 95 itself, not just an empty thing? Here we meet proper US Highway 401 here in the heart of Fayetteville. And we're now meeting with North Carolina Highway 24, and we're going to be concurrent with it as we head through downtown Fayetteville. Here we meet US 301 and 95 Business here on the outskirts of Fayetteville. And we can see in the distance now we're now getting a to North Carolina Highway 53 shield. And here's where North Carolina 210 and 53 splits off from 24, as we're now signed for White Lake. Now, I'm pretty sure y'all don't know where White Lake is, but it's actually on North Carolina Highway 53. And I actually agree with this, because North Carolina 210 does not go through anything significant between here and Hampstead. And signing Hampstead from here is pretty far away, so I kind of agree with this choice of White Lake. And our next mileage time, we get two towns that are both on 53. We get White Lake and Atkinson. Oh boy, not 95 again. Please, just roll the next stupid slide. And now we're splitting off from North Carolina Highway 53 as we're now signed for Moores Creek. Are you kidding me? That's literally a battlefield. So NC is now signing a battlefield on 210? No, this should be Hampstead, not Moores Creek. Our next mileage time we get a battlefield as our secondary and Curry as our primary. No, I'd rather see Hampstead here, not Curry. Here we meet US Highway 701 in the middle of nowhere. And our next mileage time we finally get Hampstead.
Thank you!
Yes, this is a correct choice, not just Curry. Here we meet North Carolina Highway 53 for a second time, and we're going to have a short concurrency with it again. And this is where the two highways split off from each other, as 210 is now going to be heading towards Hampstead and Wilmington. Here we meet with US Highway 421, and it gets signed for Clinton and Wilmington, which are great choices. And further up the road, we're now getting signed for Wilmington and Surf City. Now, this is an awesome mileage sign as well, NC Dot. Congratulations! Here we meet with North Carolina Highway 133, and we're getting signed for Rocky Point again. No, that should be Hampstead. That's where we meet US Highway 17. I know we meet Interstate 40 in Rocky Point, but Rocky Point's an unincorporated community. Sign an actual town. Here we meet with US Highway 117, and we don't get any control cities for either of the highways. But we do get a mention of Interstate 40. And we're now meeting Interstate 40 at exit 408 once again. And this direction we do get control cities. Eastbound 40 for Wilmington, which is a good choice, even though we're like literally 12 miles north of its eastern terminus. While 40 West gets signed for Benson. No, Raleigh, not Benson. In our next mileage time, we get Hampstead on the top line and Topsail Island on the bottom line, which is another good mileage sign. Here we meet US Highway 17, and we're going to now be concurrent with it as we head towards Topsail Island. And here's where 210 splits off from US Highway 17 to head onto the coast. Here we meet with North Carolina Highway 50 here in Surf City, and we're now going to be concurrent with it as we head towards Topsail Island itself. Here on Topsail Island, we split off from North Carolina Highway 50 as it gets signed for Topsail Beach, while 210 gets signed for North Topsail Beach. Why? That should be Sneads Ferry. And after passing through North Topsail Beach, we cross on a causeway back onto mainland North Carolina once again, heading towards Sneads Ferry. And after meeting North Carolina Highway 172, we get one last mileage time with two US 17 control cities. Jacksonville at 17 miles away and New Bern at 54. Now this is a rare NC.W. Woohoo! They're not just signing Junction US 17, they're actually signing two places on US Highway 17. And then for up the road we meet US Highway 17, and it gets signed for Wilmington and Jacksonville, and we actually get a end North Carolina 210 shield here this direction. So we end North Carolina Highway 210 and move on to the way it should be on North Carolina Highway 210. And these are all the places that it should be on this route. For Northwest, I'd actually do Sneads Ferry, then Surf City, then Burgraw, not Rocky Point, then actually do Kelly because Fayetteville's too far away from there. And after the split with North Carolina 53, I'd actually do Fayetteville, then Anger, then Smithfield, then for Southeast, I'd do Anger, Fayetteville, White Lake, because that's the only big town that 53 actually goes to, while 210 goes to absolutely nothing. And after splitting off from 53, I'll do Hampstead, then Wilmington. And after meeting 421, I'll just do Hampstead by itself. And after that, I do Surf City, then Sneads Ferry, then I actually do what they do on the very end of 210 and sign both Jacksonville and New Bern. And that ends North Carolina Highway 210. Thank y'all so much for watching this episode on North Carolina Highway 210. I hope you got to learn a little bit more about the highway, and I hope you also feel the same way about NC signing those unincorporated communities on North Carolina Highway 210. So with that, here are my next few highways. If you have any intersection requests for any of these upcoming highways, except for the special gimmick video, please put them down in the comment section below and I'll make sure to shout you out when these highways release. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all next week over in South Carolina.